All right. Good evening, goobers and ghouls. Tonight is I guess, special edition of Heckhound Gaming Stream, where I, Warren, who usually plays the angsty and bullish characters that take over every game, will be the keeper tonight for a Monster of the Week mystery. Um, and this evening, our hunters are going to investigate rumors abound surrounding a YouTuber who was live streaming at a Kichi antique shop. When there was, while she was inspecting a dollhouse, there was she opened the door of the dollhouse, there was a flash of green light, and then she was gone and her phone clattered to the ground before the stream ended. Um, Most people thinking it was a brilliant hoax, but our hunters, played by our players, who are going to introduce themselves in a moment, are portraying a rival, not necessarily rival, maybe friendly rivalry YouTube channel, a trio of ghost hunters who investigate spooky and paranormal things for the internet audience. And they are going to take it upon themselves to go to this Kichi antique shop and see if they can get to the bottom of what really happened to the YouTuber Kimberly Wong, known as Kim the Queen. All right. So that is the setup. And now I'm going to kick it off to Niamh, who is going to start the round of intro. She's going to tell us about herself and also tell us about the character that she's going to play. And then, at least at some point, one of you is going to have to describe your trio's ghost hunting YouTube channel. So, whichever one of you wants to make that up on the spot, I'm going to leave it up to you. So, Niamh, please.
Okay, so my name is Niamh, and I am better known as the Forever GM, who typically runs our Monster of the Week games here, and also the storyteller for Detroit by Night, our Vampire the Masquerade actual play. But tonight, on account of it being my birthday, I will just be an ordinary player. I will be a plebe, powerless to the spell of the dice, my mistress. And my character will be Jessica West. Jessica West is an interesting case study because on the surface, she appears to be a skeptic. She professes a lot of disbelief with respect to paranormal phenomenon. So when her and her YouTube crew go out and do these investigations, she's the first one to chime in with debunking stories about whatever phenomenon we're investigating. But the truth is, Jessica is actually the spooky. So her affected skepticism is just a way to throw everybody off of her tail. Um, our YouTube channel is called my Best Friend's Ghost, and
I can work with that. That works.
and Jessie West is your ghostess with the mostest, and that is who I will be this evening. Cal, how about if you go next? Tell us about your character.
Yep. Hello, everyone. I'm going to be playing Catherine Elsher. She is the mundane playbook, and what she really is she's just a lover of these stories that she hears about, and she doesn't really care if it's real or not. She just likes the whole concept of it, the whole spooky factor, the story, pretty much. Um, she did she was an antique collector herself before she got involved with the whole channel and got really invested in hearing this story. She's definitely intrigued, but she pretty much serves as someone who wants to almost act as a curator for these stories that she hears about in this channel, debunking them or maybe finding out if they're real, as a way to do that and to do it well. So yeah, she's very much interested in the story, and trying to get some fun out of them any way that she can. I'll now pass you on to Jay to tell you about his character.
Okay, so yeah, I'm Jay. I am a player. Unlike a couple of these people, I've never been a GM. I'd be a terrible GM. So let's count our blessings. Tonight I am going with Cassie Averill. She is she's an engineering student. I think she's kind of put that on hold a little bit as the channel kind of hopefully grows. But what she was always very technically minded, not spiritual at all. But she had a drug trip that was very intense, and it felt like years, centuries, even as she kind of existed in solitude, and through that experience, she's kind of like got some insight into the universe, and is kind of chasing that, though she's a little bit afraid to try the drug thing again. But yeah, she mostly works with equipment. It's kind of her thing. So yeah.
Okay. So I think we established that the name of this YouTube channel is My Best Friend's Ghost. And you are so you're going to be entering the name of the store is, from having seen the viral video of Kim DeQueen's last stream, is a little store called Niamh Full Things. And it's a very kitschy antique store. It's got lots of like interesting artifacts and like, fun little things, and also some really, maybe they're valuable, but also maybe they're broken things. And it is in like a small town, kind of outside the big city, wherever your characters are. We'll call this town Littleville. All right. It is a little town called Littleville, and Main Street is it's not dead, but it's like any kind of main street that you might see in a small town where there's like an old bookstore, a malt shop, a cafe, maybe a cafe or two, maybe like a restaurant, and then there's also this antique store, Niamh Full Things. It's not the only antique store. And so my question to the hunters is, do you want to begin at the antique store, or do you want to kind of explore around a little bit? So you guys are going to arrive there on a weekday morning, where it's kind of nice and quiet in the town. We'll say Thursday morning. It gets a little bit busier on Friday, but you're kind of going in on Thursday.
I am all good with whatever. So if y'all want to explore, we can. Do you want us to describe our characters and give like an intro when we pop onto the screen?
Yeah, let's do that. So let's say that your character, you are driving, and who is driving and what kind of car is it?
I'll be driving. How about a Honda Civic?
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Very
practical. Yes.
Yes. Do you have like the brand's logo decaled on it? Like the YouTube's logo? With little hashtags like Venmo us, we're ghost hunters. Like
Yeah.
No, I don't. I think Jess would probably find that to be a little bit embarrassing.
Sure. Okay. Gotcha. So it's just like, do you have a sticker that at least has the Instagram that they could follow? Like, follow us, Best Friends Ghost.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody else might have stuck that to the car against
Gotcha.
Jess's strenuous objections.
I mean, how
good.
do you
All
expect
right,
to get to a million subscribers if you're not going to hustle? I mean, you really need to get that on your car.
right.
We're really on the nose about what we want, the views.
I think Jess is just going to turn the radio on as we're driving around the town to drown out her compatriots here.
Okay. So you enter Littleville. It is a small kind of touristy town. There's a wine country like not too far away, so that kind of brings in tourists, out of towners, and so that's kind of able to support the small main street of this town here. Um, and the um, like as I said, you saw some. There's a restaurant. There is a cafe called Little Flowers, um, Little Flowers Cafe, and there is more than one antique shop. There is the Little Antiques, um, and then after there's like a clothing boutique,
Mm.
and then and then right after that there is Needful Things, and so there, like I said, there's only one shop in between Needful Things and Little Antiques. um, but yeah, there are things that you can of course explore in this town, um, but there is also the antique store where it all happened. So
Can
we'll
I?
say that your car kind of pulls into one of those angled parking spaces in Main Street, um, and then as you get out, you can describe Jessica. She's the first one to get out. Actually,
Can I use my move before I get out?
sure,
Premonition.
okay.
Okay, I'm rolling it. First roll of the game. Oh, I wanted to ask about the luck situ. Are we using the house rule where we get 1 point of luck, and if we manage to fill up all of our experience, we can have a second point of luck?
Yes, I think that's a good rule
Okay.
for the one shot. Is that if instead of leveling up with experience, you can use another luck point, like you'll gain another luck point to
Okay.
use.
Um,
Um,
so I rolled a 7, and it says on a 7 to 9, you get clouded images of something bad that is yet to happen. Mark experience if you stop it.
okay, something bad that is yet to happen. Um, yeah, a clouded image of something bad that is yet to happen. So you get a clouded image of someone who is wearing, like they are dressed in like athleisure that's like way too tight, but they're a very good. Like this man is in very good shape, but he's wears athleisure that is very too tight. And the clouded image is that. So when we think clouded image, do we just mean like kind of metaphorical and sort of unclear? That's kind of what I'm thinking. All right. So the metaphorical image that maybe requires some figuring out is there's this guy like who's in good shape, wearing way too tight athleisure, and has got like an obnoxiously big like Bluetooth ear thing, and he is just like standing there, kind of like looks like he's having a sour argument with someone and getting kind of like pushy, but the whole time like he's being like doused in gravy, and you can see like little like big chunks of like giant chunks of flaked cat food kind of like dripping onto him with the gravy. And when I say like giant chunks, I mean like they're like the size of like real steaks, but they clearly have the look of like cat food flakes. And but he's oblivious to them. He's just kind of talking aggressively while he's just getting drenched in what looks like giant cat food. And I would say that's like the cloudy premonition you get. Is that satisfying?
So what you would see is Jessica, who is a young woman in her late 20s, recline back slightly and press herself back onto the driver's seat and close her eyes lightly, almost as if she's napping. She looks deliberately average. She has sort of plain, mousy brown hair cut off to her shoulders in a bob. She's dressed in jeans and a sweater, and for all appearances, she appears to be napping. She keeps her hands on the wheel, though, as her eyes are closed. And as she sees these things racing back and forth behind her eyelids, she would sort of tense her grip on the wheel. So if Cassie, or I'm sorry, what is your character's name? I forgot.
Kathleen.
Kathleen are perceptive, you would notice that there's something off with um, Jess. But after she reclines like that for a few minutes, absorbing the visions, she mutters under her breath, "Never do shrooms in the morning," and then she's going to open the car door and step out into the streets of Littleville, carefully making sure to adjust her clothing so that nothing appears out of place and there's nothing that would visually call any attention to her.
Okay. So who's going to get out of the car next?
Well, one question: like, what is the weather like right now?
Um, we will say that this is pretty close to like peak tourist season, so it's pretty nice weather. So it's like a very kind of it's a very comfortable like 70 3 degrees outside, partly cloudy, but with like bright blue sky.
So, I mean, Cassie will get out of the car. What you'll see is a woman in the early 20s, not dressed particularly according to the weather. I mean, she's got a thick, long sleeve shirt on, buttoned down, but not tucked in. Kind of old jeans with holes, um, and she has brown hair that's maybe a little bit past her shoulders, and kind of thick black glasses. Black is in the rims, not yeah, not the lenses. Um, so that's what you'll see when she gets out of the car, looking a little unsure of herself.
Okay. And then after that, I'm guessing Catherine gets out.
Kathleen gets out, and what you would see is a woman who's also in her 20s, but maybe a little bit late 20s, 25 leaning on. She has curly brown hair, and she wears one of those shirts that are that take the pattern of flowers, along with like an amethyst around her neck. Um, that's acts as a necklace.
Mhm.
She looks around, and in her hand she's holding her phone that she's been on mostly all the time in the car rides here, keeping up with the channel and the follower count.
Okay. All right. Um, so the group, the best friends ghost trio, uh, gets out of the car here on Main Street. What would y'all like to check out?
I want to
Let's start.
investigate a mystery at the antique shop.
Okay, just kind of like view needful things from the outside and kind of get a sense of like what's going on before you head in.
I would like to walk the perimeter, and then I want to kind of go inside if I can, if the shop is open, and just take a walk around, sort of perusing the aisles. I'm specifically, I want to look for anything that looks out of place. So anything that might have been an area where we could pull off or they could pull off a camera trick or anything like that. So I'm looking for any sort of hinky evidence that might suggest a setup.
Okay. So you're going to walk around looking for any hinky evidence that might suggest a setup.
Yeah. And are we using the flexible option for investigate
Yes.
a mystery? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Here I go. Oh, shoot. Hang on a second. I told you I was. Oh, I did already. Never mind. I lied. I thought I forgot to change my stats, but I did. So that's good. Nine.
Okay.
When I look at the area of the shop that corresponds to the area where the YouTuber was last filming, so I want to kind of line it up. So I am exactly in the place where she was last filming. Is there anything about that location that seems strange or suspicious?
Like from the exterior or like inside the shop? Because you wanted to kind of walk the perimeter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're kind of thinking like when she was walking around and streaming before she walked in and was streaming from the inside, you want to see if there's anything suspicious about the outside.
No, I also wanted to go inside and look around
Okay.
inside if I could. I just didn't know if it was open or if we had special permission to shoot or if we were breaking in or what the situ was.
Okay. So the store is open right now. And when you walk in and the little bell rings and you enter the store, you do see that there is a woman behind a counter kind of towards the back. She's not by the front, and she's slightly obscured by some of the other kind of displays, but she is in a position where she can see the front door and see a good deal of the store. And she is a elderly woman. Well, not like old. Maybe she like around like 60s. Um, Very kind of a small woman, um, with a little tiniest bit of like a hunch, um, and wearing a knitted sweater that's open. And you can kind of see that she's wearing like a turtleneck underneath that, and she has glasses as well. But her gray hair is very simple, though she has kind of an intricate braid on one side. But it's not too long. It kind of just goes right to below the shoulders, her hair and the braid. Uh, and she nods and smiles as you enter. And looking around for where the Mildred was, no, sorry, not Mildred, Kimberly, where she was when she was last filming. Um, it is not actually difficult to find where she was because the very interesting and intriguing dollhouse is a prominent fixture towards the back, kind of closer to where the shopkeeper is. It is on its own pedestal, kind of about 3 feet away from the other shelves that surround it. And your question was, is there anything that sort of pops out to you as something that might be suspicious about this? Um, I would say yes. What occurs to you as you are looking at this spot where, and so basically we're just getting one question, right? What kind of stands out as a suspicious thing about this last spot where Kim was filming? I'd say that the thing that kind of stands out as suspicious is that the windows. This dollhouse looks uh, very intricate. Like the work of it is incredible. But what you notice that is suspicious, that like, or it is odd, is that all the windows of this dollhouse are appear to be blacked out, um, so that you can't see what's inside the dollhouse. Uh, but everything else about it is kind of like masterwork craftsmanship.
Ma'am, I'm interested in this dollhouse, but I think there's a defect. All these windows are blacked out.
So the woman kind of takes her glasses and her reading glasses, and she takes them off and she puts them into her, holds them in her hand. She walks over towards you, and she has like a confident stride, and she walks over to you and she's like, "Oh, nothing to worry about with that. That's just um, it kind of gives it's set up that way on purpose so that whenever you open them and look and open the windows or open the door and look inside, it's just a uh, adds to the specialness or the surprise of it. That's all.
How much is it?
Oh, it's priceless. Actually, it's honestly just a display piece. It's one. I'm sorry. It's one of those things where if you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Something like that must really, really have a special history. Um,
It does. My grandmother made this actually. Well, she finished it. It's been in my family for a long time, and it has been worked on and added to with each generation. It's very old.
I think
Was begun in 1792.
at this point, Kathleen would hit record, and she's just going to try and secretly try and film this interaction.
Okay.
Interesting. Interesting. Wow. So this is a very old dollhouse. Is there anything that has inspired this dollhouse? Um, why? Why pour so many years and so much time and so many resources into this thing?
Well, it's a labor of love and one that's been carried on, like I said, for generations, for a long time. My grandmother finally finished the fourth floor here, as you can see, um, and added to it. And my mother added much of the furniture, and I've done touch ups and paintings. I've done a lot of the painting for it. I've added a lot of the art that's inside. Um, it's a special hobby of mine. She kind of like smiles to herself, and she, you know, kind of make gestures towards the wall, where up high on the walls, be above all the shelves, there are portraits of what looks like, maybe just people that she's met around town or landscapes. Um, and it does look like she's a very good artist.
Wow. Your art is beautiful. I do have to confess, I actually heard about your little shop because of that rumor about the YouTube girl.
Oh, and she kind of like smiles at this, like, oh, yes, that was. We've had a couple people actually ask about her, and just you know, if I knew how to do it, I would just go online and explain it. But I don't have one of those accounts. But basically, yeah, she and her friends just asked if they could film a little short film in here, and I do like to help out the youth. And so, yes, I said they could film their little movie, and I guess it looked really good in the end because people come and ask about what happened to her. But they just filmed their little film, um, and I guess they wanted to make it look like she disappeared, like you know,
Did
fun
you
little short film.
did you see the little short film by any chance?
No, she just told me what she was trying to do, and then I just said she could film it in here.
I would like to use the sight.
Okay.
It says you can see the invisible, especially spirits and magical influences. You may communicate with and maybe even make deals with the spirits you see, and they give you more opportunities to spot clues when you investigate a mystery.
Okay. So when you say magical influences, do you mean like you can see if something has a magical aura?
I don't know. You, Warren, that is your
Okay.
call. You get to.
That's fine.
It's your
Yeah.
crossword puzzle, bruh.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, I'm gonna roll. This one better be good. I'm gonna spend my luck point.
Okay.
I'm blowing my load early, you guys. This feels
This is
important.
awful early. I don't know, man.
Well, I don't know. You gotta. What are we gonna do if we don't? Keep things moving at a fast clip here.
Yeah.
So the site is not something Jess has precise control over.
Okay.
It is a little bit like pulling the handle of a slot machine. She has no way of knowing exactly what the input is going to be. Sometimes it'll just be a feeling like someone is standing very close behind her. Sometimes it's a full-on vision. Sometimes it's auditory, like she'll hear someone speaking. And sometimes it's visual, where it appears as if two or more images are overlaid on top of each other. So psychically, Jess reaches out and pulls that lever to see what she gets. And since I blew my luck point wad, it's a 12. So give it to me, baby. Make it worth
Okay.
my while.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. So as Jess looks at her with skepticism, as like her story doesn't quite match up with like her suspicions, surrounding the disappearance of Kimberly Wong, um, you're eyeing her with a skeptical eye, and as you do, you are shocked when all of a sudden, as you're looking at her, she no longer looks like this kind of kindly, frail older woman. She looks just decrepitly old, like Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China, like impossibly old, um, and just like that level of like you know aged ancientness. Uh, and then you kind of like glance up, and because in your peripheral vision, you notice that things are different too, and on like those portraits that she had on the wall above the shelves, you can see that they're different now. They're much more gruesome. It looks like people's like portraits of them in the bloody aftermath of death, and hanging from each portrait by a little bit of string is like what looks like a miniature kind of action figure. um, but instead you kind of like realize in detail that they are kind of like they're miniaturized dead bodies hanging from each portrait. um, and you also see like the dolls that are kind of like lining the like the they look normal, like normal antique dolls, but now that you can see that they're looking at you, and their eyes are human eyes pleading with you in fear and terror, and all these dolls that are kind of lining this like place, and you can see that there are hundreds of these dolls, and that she has just lining the top shelf all around, kind of like underneath the portraits, um, which before just kind of looked like that's where dolls go, on the top shelf. But now that you see that every single one of these dolls has human eyes.
Okay, jackpot. Do you want me to act under pressure to not freak out?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. And also, I will add that because you have the 12, you can also, I'll throw on top of that that you can see the windows shaking on the dollhouse, and you can even see the silhouette of little figures inside, like banging on the windows. Okay, yeah, excellent. So you are able to keep your cool so that she does not realize that you see the horror that is like, you know, underneath the surface here of her kitschy little antique shop.
Wow, that's fascinating. You must have quite a life story to tell.
Oh, just a local girl, local family. Been here all my life. Um, you know, took this over from my grandmother, and when I'm ready, I'll go. I'll leave, and when I'm ready to retire, I'll leave, and my granddaughter will come in and run it for me.
You know, we actually run a YouTube channel ourselves. My best friend's Ghost. You've probably heard of it. I'm actually the host. Would it be okay if we took a look inside this little dollhouse?
You know what? It absolutely would. Um, Let me go and get the tool that I use to open it. I can break it open in the half, and then you can all see just inside. Very, very lovely. Um, but of course, if you'd like to get a little preview, like I said, opening the windows and the doors kind of gives you a fun little look before we open it all. Kind of get little peeks and see little details before we just open the whole thing. And then she will kind of smile her little smile and walk back behind her little counter there, and you hear her opening a drawer and kind of like looking down. Um, does anyone want to do any kind of roll right now?
I want to investigate a mystery and snoop around this dollhouse.
Sure.
I want to
Anyone else
open its
wanna-
little windows. Yeah, I'll let somebody else do something. I've been doing I've been doing the most here on my
Yeah.
birthday stream.
Yeah.
At this juncture,
Sorry.
on you go, Jay.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, at this juncture, read a bad situation. I know nothing bad has happened to Kathleen, but is there, the way that she was saying that, is there any like malevolent vibe that she gets?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and read a bad situation. That seems appropriate right now.
Yeah. I feel like Cassie is just kind of like hanging back and maybe feeling a little useless.
Can
But
I help out? Is it okay if I help out with reading a bad situation? So I can roll to help out, and then if
Yeah.
Cal needs it.
I think so. I think especially because Jesse probably feels like this is a bad situation. I feel like she would help out.
10, bitch. Yes.
Nice. So that adds like a 2 to whatever he rolls.
It adds a +1, and I don't expose
+1.
myself to trouble or danger.
Nice. Okay. Good. A 0. What? I didn't even think that was possible.
oh yeah, you roll a 1 and you get a negative. So yeah, that's nice.
That's
Well, I
our
mean,
Cal.
I didn't think it was possible because like you roll 2 dice, right? It was just like, so I guess
Well, you
got
roll
a
2. Okay,
-1.
yeah. You roll 2, and then you get negative. Sorry.
Wow. So you have a -2.
Do
on
you
that,
want
so
to blow your luck wad this early? Come on, Cal. Spend that luck. Let's go.
I don't know
Oh,
how
no,
that
man.
happened. I don't know. I did a +1, but I'll take it. That is rare. Okay, let's do it.
Well, let me
Plus
see.
luck's
So this was Catherine, right?
yeah.
Yeah, her cool is a 1. I don't know, or is this would be sharp actually, wouldn't it?
Sharp,
But still, that's
yeah.
also a 1. I don't know how you could possibly get a 0 on that.
Is there a way to?
I think it's because I put the plus sign before the 1. I should have just put 1, but I put the plus.
But it looks like
She rolled a 3
Roll a
and a
s-
2 +1 +1, so that should be a 7.
Yeah, that's weird.
That should be a 7. I don't know why that. Okay. Yeah, unless you have a -2, there's no way to get a 0. So that's actually a mixed success with a 7.
Okay.
And then a +1 on that makes it an 8. Or no, does that already include the +1?
That includes
That
the
includes the
+1. So
Okay.
he should have a
So it's a
7.
7. Okay, well that's good. The help out brought it from a failure to a success. So, or mixed success. So you're doing read a bad situation, and we've got a mixed success. Trying to remember what that entails on a mixed success.
It's just a hold 1.
A hold 1. Okay. So tell me, what is the one thing you want to ask about reading this bad situation?
I guess for one, what's the biggest in this little shop? Is it the kind old lady, or is it something more nefarious that's behind closed doors in this little shop?
This kind old lady is absolutely the biggest threat in this little shop. In fact, I would say that it's a mixed success. You're reading a bad situation. So the way I'll give it to you is that you kind of notice as she is like she's pretending to look for something in that drawer. She's watching you out of the corner of her eye. She's not actually looking through her drawer. Is I think what you will kind of pick up with your reading the bad situation, and that gives you the heebie-jeebies that she is dangerous.
Well, Jess is walking over to this house, finna fuck around with it. Do you maybe want to stop her from doing that, Kathleen?
Yeah, Kathleen.
Do you?
I mean, if she knows this lady's watching us, might not be the best. Actually, I think she'll just take out her phone and send a message to Jessie saying that, just a quick message saying she's watching.
All right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to roll a d20, and that's going to be how many seconds it takes you to type out this like warning message, because I want to see if you can text fast enough to like warn her away from opening that dollhouse window. All right. A 5. That is
thumbs of steel. Holy shit.
Yeah. That is like super freaking like quick. So I could say it's probably I'm guessing that like y'all have like a code, right? And you just type real quick danger close, because y'all play a lot of like Call of Duty Modern Warfare together. That's another thing that y'all do as your stream, is you like stream yourselves gaming. And so like you kind of picked up that like vernacular. And so you just text danger close real quick. And then she knows to like, be wary. Okay. So very quickly.
So I feel like you want to manipulate a person.
There you go. Yeah. Why don't you roll a manipulate a person roll?
Let's do it.
Damn right. I want that sweet, sweet experience. I'm Mama's cruising for another luck point.
Yeah. A success.
Okay. So what you want me to do is you want me to stop, right? And not fuck with it. And if I do what you want, I mark experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I will do what you want. And I'm going to mark my experience. And I look at you with this exasperated expression on my face. Like,
Kathleen just does that towards the old lady, and she's just going to say, "It's a really nice shop. I just want to be kind and respectful to it, because I like old places like this that capture art."
Okay. So what?
I guess I'll come out with you and be like, Kathleen, what are you doing?
That
You
lady.
see you come out, like, y'all leave the shop then instead of looking at the dollhouse?
I thought that, like, when Kathleen was like this, she was gesturing that we should leave for a moment to have a conversation outside.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave.
Okay, so then as you all leave, you know, the old lady, the shop owner, I don't think y'all got her name yet, will just call out to you. It's like, oh, y'all don't want to inspect, y'all don't want to take a look at the dollhouse?
We'll be
I'm
right
staying.
back, ma'am.
I'm not going
Yeah,
anywhere.
Oh, Cassie's staying.
Cassie's
Cassie's staying.
staying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll be right back. We have a
Oh,
situation developing. We'll be back in 1 minute, ma'am.
oh, of course, of course. So Jesse and
Kathleen.
Kathleen, Jesse and Kathleen exit Neve Full Things, um, and y'all are gonna have a little conflab on the outside. Um, and then, what is Cassie doing while she's hanging out with the in this antique shop with the
I think
store?
she's going to be like, so I'm sorry, I have to ask, what does nimeful
Mm-hmm.
things mean? What is your name? I don't understand.
Neve Full Things
Nime.
thing.
Nimeful things?
Oh no, it's the that's actually the sorry, it's pronounced Neve Full Things,
Oh,
and it's just,
okay.
it's an homage to my great grandmother who um, actually was one of the original settlers of this town, and her name was Neve. She came over from Ireland to
Oh,
escape religious persecution.
oh, I see. Oh, very fascinating.
Yeah,
So, why don't I take a look at this dollhouse? This is interesting.
my dear, it would be my absolute pleasure to share my family's history with you. Just go ahead. You can open one of the door. You can open the door or the windows. Just take a little peek inside and see. I feel like that's the best way to enjoy it. And then, from there, once your friends come back in and they also peek and kind of get that little unique view, I can open it up down the middle and we can all take a look at all the rooms together.
Oh yeah, yeah. My grandmother had an ornate old dollhouse. I always wanted to play with it. She never let me, so this is really cool. I would love to take a look.
Okay, so do you open the door or the window?
Yeah, I'm gonna just open the doors. I'm just gonna open it up and take a look inside and open the door up, open the
Okay.
windows.
Yeah, so you open the door up and you are looking inside, and it is extremely detailed inside, and it's actually rather gruesome. You see this grotesque sight of these tiny little bodies piled up on the like near the front door. There are about six of them piled up on top of each other, and the detail is incredible. Like that someone could create a miniature so realistic, and like the dried blood, they can even smell this coppery smell. And as you're focusing on it and the details become sharper, you realize that they're becoming sharper because they're becoming bigger in your vision as it fills your vision. And you can all of a sudden hear this like snapping and crackling sound of an electric outlet like shorting out. Um, and you can see these green crackle of energy kind of like around the peripheral of your vision, and you feel this kind of intense pressure and this headache, and then this ringing noise filling your ears, and then as it finally dies down and you kind of blink away all the light and the fuzziness of it, you realize you are in the dollhouse, and there are six dead bodies, kind of like in various states of decay, piled up
Holy
by the
shit!
front door. And yeah, and you hear this kind of like a very satisfied chuckle that sort of reverberates as it's sort of loud but muffled from the outside. And you look out the open door, and you can see that she is gigantic now, and you are looking out across the pet, like the front door opens out. You can see the pedestal that the dollhouse sits on, and you see her giant hand like reach forward and like grab the little tiny door of the dollhouse and shut it closed. And the whole time you can see her wicked grin. and you are now trapped in the dollhouse.
I imagine I've fallen back. I'm kind of on my back, my knees up, like just staring at this happen.
Yeah, well, because
Yeah,
like you were actually standing, but then like you turn around and look out the door, and then
yeah,
that's when she like closes it, and you're trapped in the
yeah.
dollhouse. And I said that there are these various like states of like these bodies that are in states of decay, um, and you can also see that like standing near the exit is a GI Joe action figure. Um, and he's holding and he's like standing perfectly still, but then you notice it move and he's looking at you, and you can see that he's holding kind of like a stubby handled um, uh, like scalpel. So he's got a weapon, and it's kind of like stuck into like his hands, his little like plastic hands, like curved around it, and he's just watching you. It looks like.
I'm gonna back up and be like, what the fuck just happened? Are you stuck here too? Not taking my eyes off of him.
You hear a whisper from one of the rooms to the side. So you're kind of like in the living room, and you hear a whisper, and you kind of look towards your left, and you can see someone peeking out from the side there, like their face. It is a young woman. You recognize her immediately, fellow YouTuber Kimberly Wong, and she's gesturing for you to move towards her, towards the kitchen and dining room area.
Okay, I'm gonna hurry toward her. Kind of crouched, trying not to take my eyes off the guy.
Okay. Real quick, is Kathleen like? Is she part of the like the on camera crew of my best friend's ghost? I mean, I imagine all three of you were on camera all the time, but I'm just clarifying.
It's Cassie or Kathleen?
Sorry, Cassie.
Oh, Cassie. Okay. Cassie, I guess probably would be on camera occasionally, but I think that wouldn't be her main job. She's more interested in tech stuff.
Okay, so I'm gonna roll a dice, and on an even, Kimberly recognize you, and on an odd, she doesn't. Okay, so odd, Kimberly doesn't recognize you from my best friend's ghost. But you recognize Kimberly because you're there to find out what happened to her. And she kind of like gestures you and and then she kind of pulls you towards the like into the kitchen. Kimberly is sort of like, she looks very disheveled. Her hair is like very dry and kind of frizzy. Her face is greasy. She looks like emaciated, like there's dried crusties like around her mouth. Like perhaps she hasn't like eaten or had anything or had much to drink in like the past couple of days that she's been missing. Um, and she just says like, "Oh, thank you so much for what are you doing here? We have to be careful. Don't go near the exit."
What's that? What happens at the exit? Are you okay? You look terrible.
That fucking doll stabs anyone that tries to go out that door.
Holy shit. All the fucking dead bodies.
And if you hear the footsteps and they're these fucking nutcrackers, if you hear them coming, don't let them catch you.
Oh shit. What? Oh my god, how have you survived?
There's little bits of sometimes there's condensation on the windows, and you can get some moisture. I found like some old bits of crumbs of food. There's an old Cheerio that I've been snacking on in one of these corners. But that's mine. You have to find your own.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. What the fuck is going on here? I was forced here by the shopkeeper. I guess that must have happened to you.
Oh, that bitch Mildred. Yeah,
Mildred.
Yeah, yeah. So she came. She showed up after I got shrunk down here, and she made me give her my car keys and my phone and everything. and then she left. But she was small like us, but she had those nutcrackers like as her bodyguards. And then she took my shit, and then she left, and then she was big again. Yeah, she's gonna come take your shit too.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So like, what do you have that like we can hide that we don't want her to have?
Like
Do you have
so
your car keys?
I do have my car keys. Yeah, I have keys. I've got some
Oh,
tools in
wait,
my
point of order. I don't think you
backpack.
do actually. You're not the driver.
Oh, I'm assuming that I
Yeah,
have a car,
you don't.
but I'm
No,
assuming
I
I have a
thought we
car,
all
but I didn't
drove
drive.
here.
But okay,
Yeah.
Right, that's true. You might have your own like house keys with you, but
Yeah.
like your
Yeah.
car is not in Littleville.
yeah.
Like anything that you don't want that you want to keep, we have to hide it like right now, before the nutcrackers find you.
Okay. I okay. Don't freak out. I am armed. I'm gonna
With
kind of
what?
slowly show her the small handgun I have holstered underneath my shirt, um, which is just buttoned up, got a shirt underneath, but so I do have a handgun there. Like I've got a. You think I could we protect ourselves?
I mean, these things don't bleed, so you know, I don't think you can. There was this gumshoe, this private eye that was looking for me. My parents hired him. He is up somewhere on the third floor. I don't know what he's doing up there right now, but he said he's looking around for some stuff. Um, but yeah, he tried to shoot that little fucker by the front door, and I mean, it's a toy. It doesn't matter if you shoot it.
Friends are here. Maybe they'll know I'm gone. So
Oh, thank
maybe
goodness. All right, all
they'll
right.
I guess
Okay,
could
well,
I try?
let's here. Whatever you want to hide, and like
Okay.
she'll like go and look at keep an eye on the action figure. It's like I don't hear the nutcrackers. I think they're upstairs somewhere. So
I'm gonna hide.
go stash your shit in one of
Yeah,
those cabinets.
yeah. Okay. Hide my shit.
All right. So
Um,
outside, what
yeah.
are Kathleen and Jesse up to?
What are you doing, Kathleen?
That
Why are we out here?
that lady just gives me the creeps. I don't. Maybe this was a bad idea. Maybe we should have just left.
I need to lay down. And I'm going to walk past Kathleen and head back to the car for a minute.
Okay.
I don't know if Kathleen's following me.
Yeah, Kathleen would follow. She doesn't want to stay close to this shop anymore.
I want to go back to the car and put the seat down. And then I want to use magic to observe another time or place. If that's okay with you.
So you said you want to use you want to observe another time and place.
Yeah, it's one of the standard effects for a use magic roll, and spooky is a magic using playbook generally.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I'm going to lay down in like to the extent possible with the reclining driver's seat and try to close my eyes again so that it looks like I'm napping, but I think her posture is very rigid now. So it doesn't appear normal. She's not acting in the way a normal person would act, right? Like she's sweating, she's anxious, and then she's suddenly asked to lay down in the car, which is unusual. But I'm gonna roll.
A success.
Okay. So yeah, I want to observe another time and place. And in my head, I want to replay the YouTube video and then mentally rewind it to before the video actually started filming. in my mind's eye, I want to watch Kim interacting with this old woman. I want to see what led up to her playing with this dollhouse. So what immediately preceded this happening?
So as you were kind of like, in your mind's eye, going back in time and seeing what preceded Kimberly being like kind of slurped into the dollhouse or disappearing, you she is walking around the store. So she's like walking up the pavement of, like, she's walking along like this main street of Littleville, um, sort of just kind of peeking into the windows and just sort of seeing what might be neat. And then as soon as she sees needful things with like all those like dolls that are, normal, but like dolls are by themselves are creepy, right? Dolls are creepy, even if they're not meant to be creepy, right? So she sees all those dolls, those creepy dolls on lining the top shelf all the way around the store. Um, there's like over 100 of them. And just all these little neat things. She just says, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool." And so she comes in and she starts live streaming, um, as she like looks around at all these neat things. And what she realizes is that she never spoke to the shopkeeper. Um, she but I will say that, like, with your kind of like supernatural eye of like watching the scene, you're actually kind of like seeing uh, the shopkeeper Mildred, watching her from behind the counter, like a hungry cat, or like a cat just sort of like watching a mouse walk around in front of it. She's like, Mildred is not doing anything to catch um, Kimberly's attention, just watching patiently while Kimberly walks around and sees all these neat things. And you see that Mildred smiles very like a very satisfied smile, very smug smile, as Kimberly's attention is drawn towards the dollhouse that is situated in a way as to draw people's attention. It's sitting on a pedestal, separated out away from all the other shelves. And as Kimberly is looking at it, um, the only interaction you see is that she looks over to Mildred, and before she can even ask anything, Mildred just kind of smiles and gives like the gesture of like, "Of course you can play, you can touch it." And then Kimberly just kind of goes like, "Oh, neat." And then she just reaches over and touches it. And then you can see a flash of light as Kimberly is sucked into the dollhouse. And I will even say that because this was like a success, not a mixed success, that you are also able to see Kimberly, you're also able to see Mildred walk over to the dollhouse and go to close it. And Kimberly's horrified face looking out from the inside of it miniaturized. And she closes the dollhouse door. And then that'll be the end of your vision.
So my eyes bolt open
Mhm.
and I sit up straight. And I look at Kathleen and I'm going to ask her, what did you see inside the antique store?
The lady was pretending to do stuff, but her eyes were fully on us the whole time, and it just creeped me out.
But you didn't see anything?
See what? What did you?
No. I just got bad vibes off of her. I didn't see anything.
Yeah,
I mean, I saw the dollhouse.
I know she's just really sketchy to me. Maybe it's a bad idea to leave Colleen with her. Should we go and get her and leave?
I agree. I have to get out of here. I'm not feeling very well. We need to leave. And I'm going to get out of that that vehicle as quickly as I can and begin heading back to Needful Things. As fast as I can.
Okay. And Cassie, or I'm guessing you're going with her, or Kathleen, sorry.
Yeah, trying to hurry to
Okay.
catch up.
All right. So Kathleen and Jesse, you quickly you throw open the door to Needful Things. The bell rings loudly, and you rush inside, and you can see the shopkeeper Mildred is again just sort of doing a crossword in the behind the counter. Her reading glasses on her face, and she looks up and sees you all walk in. It's like, oh, welcome back.
Where's Cassie?
Oh, your friend. Oh, yes. She asked to use the restroom.
I need to speak with her. Where's your restroom? Where is it?
Oh, it's in the back, but she'll be out in a bit. I'm afraid I only have one, so you'll have to wait till she gets back.
I'm going to walk directly to the back and start banging on the door to see if Cassie's in there.
Yeah, there's no answer from the back from the restroom.
Can
that
I
she
open
points
the
out.
door?
Yeah, if you go to open the door, it's unlocked. And it's empty.
I'm going to come out and I'm going to, before I step out into the view of the lady, I'm going to text Kathleen to lock the front door. Make sure everybody's out of here and then lock the front door.
Yeah, y'all are the only people in there. There's no one else in the store right now. It's still kind of early, and it's a weekday, so it's not like real big on tourists right now.
Don't let her see you.
All right, so that is going to be a act under pressure roll to see if you could do it sneakily enough that she doesn't see you.
She's not the one.
And I
that's
see
tracking
Brian
her.
is here. Brian, have you joined the VTT? You have. Excellent. I'm going to add your character to
Just did.
Excellent.
But yeah, act under pressure, as I was saying. She's not the one trapped in here with us. We're trapping her in here. Okay. An 11.
Oh, excellent. Yes. So you are able to do what you set out to do with no kind of like hangups. So she is going to, so Mildred is kind of focused on Jesse, who is like, gone to the bathroom, seen that her friend's not there. And we'll say that like before she sees you text, so she doesn't see you texting Kathleen, but she kind of steps back there with you at some like shortly after and sees that it's empty and just like, oh, I suppose she may have ducked out while I was engrossed in my crossword. You didn't see her outside?
I'm going to try to move past her.
Oh, like out into the shop?
Yeah.
That's not going to require a roll. She does not try to block your path or anything. She'll just step out of the way and let you go past her.
Do we want to intro Brian's character maybe as Cal is locking the door?
Yes. So inside the dollhouse, Cassie, you are... so inside that dollhouse, Cassie, you have finished stashing the things that you want to keep safe from Mildred when she comes to take all of your personal belongings. And you find... and you go back to talk to Kimberly, and then you hear the steps of someone coming down the stairs, and Kimberly freaks out a little bit, but then from around the corner comes a man, not a doll, not a Nutcracker toy or a GI Joe, but a man. You see a relief on Kimberly's face, and she's like, "Oh, it's Robert." And then she looks to
The
you,
PI.
and this will be Brian's character, Robert, the private investigator that was
Okay.
looking for Kimberly, and ended up being trapped into the dollhouse as well. he was upstairs looking for other exits, but has found that all of the windows are sealed tight, and actually don't open, and the only exit seems to be the front door, which is guarded by the GI Joe with the scalpel. Um, so yeah, Brian, this is your character, Robert Hernandez. Tell us a little bit about Robert Hernandez, the Private Eye, um,
Well,
as he comes around the corner here.
like most private investigators, Robert had a history of law enforcement that didn't go as well as he'd like. Got out, used his skills to find work elsewhere as an investigator.
Mhm.
Picked up this assignment because he has a little soft spot for helping families find their little girls that are missing, and this one's gone a little sideways.
Yeah, we'll say I'd say that it has. He has never encountered magic like this, where he, was essentially tricked into opening the door of the dollhouse and trapped inside, where he did find Kimberly, the person he was looking for. But now he and Kimberly have not been able to find a way out. And as Robert has been around to explore more parts of the dollhouse, he would be able to report that the bodies aren't just piled up by the front door. He's also found old, kind of desiccated corpses, um, kind of strewn throughout the house as well. And kind of some are really old, like they've been like maybe decades old. So they're really just kind of like bones and rags. The fresher ones are by the door, where y'all are at, maybe like a few weeks old. Um, but at this point, it just sort of smells like stale. Uh, there's no corpse so fresh that like the rot is like, there's no like wet smell of rot. It's all pretty dry and stale. Um, but yeah, I would say that you would also have your weapon. But we've already established that Robert has figured out that shooting the toys really doesn't do much, since they don't have organs. Yeah, kind of to throw all that on him because he's joined in the middle here. But yeah, there you go.
So yeah, there's no way out upstairs, guys. It's terrible dollhouse. Windows don't open. Somebody was cheap.
Yeah. Now you haven't been all the way up there. You've only been to the fourth. You haven't been to the fourth floor, um, but which is you haven't been to the top. You've only been up to the third.
I'll make note
I
of
don't.
that.
How is this even possible? What? I don't know. Kimberly, did you know anything about what this woman can do? Like, can we escape? Do you know anything about that?
Are you fucking kidding me? No, I didn't know what she could do. All right. I don't stream, I stream fun things. I don't like, stream weird shit like this. Okay.
Well, you're a
No, I
ghost
didn't
channel, I
know what
thought.
she could do.
Okay.
What? No,
Oh,
We're ghost
no, I,
hunters.
I stream fun things.
okay.
Yeah. I kind of just find like, I help people, find hidden gems, and I teach people, and I do little explainer videos about how you can restore things. Okay.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't do ghosties and
apologies.
ghoulies.
I'm sorry.
All
I'm
right.
sorry for
That's
suggesting
lame.
it. I'm glad to see that your dehydration hasn't eroded your spirit. But I'd like to not get dehydrated. So
She's not dehydrated. She's been licking the condensation off the windows. Weren't you paying attention, Cassie?
Yeah. And
I'm sorry.
she's had a Cheerio. All right. So she's not, but yeah, her blood sugar is
Okay.
a little bit low. It's unfortunately in a regular ass Cheerio. It's not like a honey nut one.
Oh
So
yeah.
there's like no sugar on it. It's stale as fuck.
Okay, if we
But that's
if we
that's
band
her
it,
Cheerio.
if we band together, can we take that guy's scalpel out? I mean, he's just plastic, right?
Yeah, he's plastic, which means like he doesn't have bones to break or blood to spill. And that thing is fucking sharp. All right? Do you see that? Like, have you seen those bodies there? They're all cut up. I'm not taking that chance.
Has anyone noticed if it'll move away from the door?
What you have noticed, because is that every time you get near the door, it like menaces you and like threatens you with the weapon. And no, it doesn't move away from the door. It guards that entrance. Um, you do know about the two roaming Nutcracker soldiers that kind of are sort of patrol the house, and they're always nearby. Um, you can tell by their heavy footsteps, kind of give them away. Um, but they don't like and when they do catch you, they don't like hurt you or anything, but they do try to kind of herd you towards the front door living room, like near the entrance. um they try to keep you in that area if they find you, but they just like sort of patrol that area. They just sort of patrol the whole house, but if they find you, they try to herd you towards the front door, like the living room.
Outside, can I try
Yeah.
to banish this woman momentarily from this location with a use magic roll so I can investigate behind the counter? If you don't want to allow that because it might be tonally disruptive, can I make an act under pressure roll to try to slip behind the desk and investigate a mystery in the back rooms?
um Yeah, absolutely. So yes, you can try to banish her. Um, you can try, famously, famous last words, right? Like, yeah, you could certainly try to banish her. But I will say this: like, I will give you this kind of little hint that you remember that like when you saw that with your magical sight, like trying to get it like in the magical aura of everything. Like she seemed to have like this swirling kind of like dark magical energy about her. I'll say that like you kind of got this. You definitely have the sense that she is quite adept at use of magic, um, and that whatever kind of magic you think you might be able to like cast or throw at her, she is like if you're a novice, she's a master, right? And so like you kind of get the sense that like yes, you could try to use magic against her, but she'll recognize it and she's better at it than you are.
So what what I'm trying to do is, since I use my luck point, one of my spooky weaknesses is rage and self-destruction.
Okay.
So I don't think like Jess is necessarily making wise strategic choices now. But at the same time, she does know that her friend is probably stuck inside this dollhouse awaiting some sort of horrible fate. And the question is, how do we ascertain the creature's weakness? We can't manipulate a person because it's a
Yeah.
monster. Um, we don't know where the thing lives. It seems unlikely that we're going to be able to find it. So I'm trying to think of like brainstorm ways we get at the creature's weakness so we can get the people out of the house. And I was thinking, get her out of the building by banishing
Okay.
her, but that kind of tilts my hand. I can do an act under pressure roll to try to slip into the back while maybe Kathleen distracts.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, like okay. Yes, so you do what your thing, and then what I'll do is there are probably ways that you could figure out what her weakness is, but it just depends on how you go about it. Okay, so your idea is to be able to search this place without her getting in your way.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
could text Kathleen and be like, keep her busy. I'm going to try to search the back rooms and see if there's something useful here. Okay, so I can do that. That seems less suicidal than in light of the swirling dark magical aura.
Yeah, I mean, you could also be self-destructive and just be enraged that your friend is missing and just go at this lady.
Well, it was one luck point, so let's not go totally ham. We'll get
Okay.
there. I will go ahead and do you want to? How do you want to work the thing to see if Cassie is a distraction? Do you just want me to roll my act under pressure to see if I can slip in and have Cassie roll to or Kathleen roll to help out?
Let's have Kathleen roll a manipulate a person and see if she's able to just, convince this lady to,
Can we
engage with her
manipulate a monster? Because normally you can't. You can only use manipulate a person on people. You can't manipulate a monster unless you have Dark Negotiator, which is a monstrous playbook move. I don't mean to be an asshole, but I just wanted to know if we can.
No, that's okay. That's my D&D background peeking in there. So, yeah, I guess what we would do is Cal as Kathleen will do a help action, or again, that's D&D, but we'll do help out while Niamh does act under pressure to see if she can kind of like surreptitiously search around.
Cal, please do not fuck this up for me. Roll your help out roll, Cal. Please. We got to figure this out. We're running out of time, literally.
I'll channel my luck. Okay. It's a 12.
Oh, nice. All right. So you add a +1 with no negative effects.
Here all I right. Go.
Act under pressure.
All right, bitch. Let's do it. +1 forward.
All right, so that makes it a 9.
No, I had the +1 forward included, so it's still mixed success, still which means hard choice or a price to pay.
Okay, yeah. So I will say, what do you want to do? Hard choice or price to pay?
Whatever y'all think is cooler. What do you guys want? Well, what would the options be?
Sure. So I will say that the hard choice will be that like you can get away from Mildred, but that would mean leaving Mildred alone with Kathleen. And given how dangerous Mildred is, that seems like that might be a hard choice. And then so yeah, it's like you could leave Kathleen alone with Mildred, but that'll give you more chances to like find something useful. But if you stay within sight of Mildred and Kathleen, then what you will find will be less useful, but you'll still find something useful. And then the price to pay would be that you will find something useful, but Mildred will catch you finding it.
Sorry, Kathleen. You did agree to be the distraction, so I'm going to leave Kathleen alone with Mildred, and I'm going to investigate a mystery by poking in the back rooms.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead and do your investigate a mystery roll.
Shit, dog. Watch. Here's where I'm going to really fuck up. Come on, dice.
Okay, a mixed success.
Okay, so that means one question, and I can use the list or I can use flexible option, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm torn between what sort of creature is it and what can hurt it. Can we metagame? Can I phone a friend? What do we think?
Yeah.
What sort of creature is it, or what should hurt it?
I'm
tempted to go the direct route and just go what can hurt it.
What can hurt it?
Solid route.
Okay. So, as you are looking around for like to see what can hurt it, right? Or like as you're investigating, um, I would say that just again for the sake of you're probably going to get some sense of like what kind of creature it is as well as I kind of give this out to you. But as you're peeking around the back, you find that in her kind of like private office, there is art, like portraits of like old, like people, maybe like in her family. You know, she did mention like great grandmother and uh, but like you see that like the old woman, like these women in the photos and pictures look just like Mildred. There's one of her old, there's one of her young, but they all seem to be kind of like from different eras. So it seems as though either she just bears a striking resemblance to her ancestors, or this woman is really old, but kind of vacillates between like old and youth. Um, and as far as what can hurt her, something that you notice is that she seems obsessed with fire safety. She, as you're kind of walking around, you've noticed that she has a like fire sprinkler system. She has like a fire extinguisher like in every room. Um, and what you kind of pick up is that in every like in these photos, like I would say like your supernatural spooky sense kind of draws your eye to how much of a central focus that dollhouse is to Mildred in the paint, in the portraits, and in the photos. The dollhouse has a place of reverence, and so you get the sense that her life is in fact wrapped up in the dollhouse's life. That as long as that dollhouse exists, she exists.
Okay. Um, can I disable the sprinkler system with an act under pressure roll? I do want to give an opportunity for Cal to have some spooky interaction and them to fight a nutcracker or some shit. But
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I will say that you don't even need to roll to disable the sprinkler system, that you are able to do it. But while you are back there, Cal, um, you have gone and locked the front door. Kathleen has, and you know, Mildred approaches you, putting her glasses away, and she just has this warm smile on her face, and she crosses her hands in front of you, and she just says, "Well, dear, is there anything you'd like to kind of peruse, and what kind of looking to buy anything?"
Uh, sure. I'm sorry about my friend. We're just we look out for one another, and we're a little bit protective of Cassie. That's all.
That's okay. Let me show you these dolls. I don't know if you probably noticed these dolls. They are very interesting. And in fact, I have a little nursery rhyme that goes with them. It is in the old tongue from my great great grandmother's land. So I'll say it and then I can translate it for you in just a moment. And then she starts saying these words while looking at the dolls and then looking over to you with a small smile. And she's kind of, you know, waving her hands in the air while she says it. And it is such a lilting melody of these old kind of Irish Gaelic sounding words. And then you notice that there's this wisp of smoke kind of trailing her fingers as she's saying it. And then before you can say anything about that, she just blows over her fingers ever so slightly, and this fog just kind of starts surrounding you and enveloping you, and you find yourself being lifted by it. And as it envelops you, you start to shrink down into this miniature size. Um, and then floating there in the air, buoyed by the fog, she pinches the back of your shirt between two fingers and carries you over to the dollhouse. And then in the living room of the dollhouse from the inside, you hear the door open and you see Mildred's giant fingers like having turned the doorknob and pushed the door open, and then her other hand holding up Kathleen, pinched the back of her shirt pinched by Mildred's hand, shoved into and dropped unceremoniously onto the pile of old dead bodies there by the front door. And then she pinches the front door handle and closes the door. And now Kathleen is in the dollhouse with Cassie and Robert and Kimberly Wong.
To scream is because you said she landed right on the dead bodies.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. She like screams and I assume it echoes in this little dollhouse as she desperately tries to get off the pile of dead bodies, shaking.
Feel free to scream. Just get away from the GI Joe with the scalpel.
Does she even see it?
Yeah, actually, when he probably said, you wouldn't see that right away, but if you turn and look over your shoulder, because you are kind of near the door, you see this GI Joe kind of like, tighten its grip on this scalpel and like take a step towards you and kind of like gesture menacingly with it for you to move away from the door. And you can see that like it's this, very sharp looking scalpel, and the size that you are, it is probably the size of like a halberd, the blade. And you can see on these bodies that you're kind of like, these old desiccated bodies that have kind of like spongy flesh at this point. They've been there for long enough that they're not wet anymore, but you can see these like huge gashes that have like split them open. They probably came from that scalpel that's in the GI Joe's hand. People that tried to get out the door.
Yeah, I'm going to turn the other direction and run, unless someone stops me or sees me, because I assume I'm alone with this GI
Yeah,
Joe.
well, you're with Robert, and Cassie is there as well, and also Kimberly Wong, the girl that you were sent to, like, actually you're not. They're not in the living room, but they can see you from the kitchen, which is when Robert said that. And so you can run to them in the kitchen. There's a stairwell that goes upstairs. There's also a dining room that you could like go to. But where are you gonna run to?
Definitely run to them, to the kitchen.
Okay. So back in the shop, Jesse is able to find the utility closet, and there is a you can see the pipe with like the handle that like controls the flow of the sprinkler system, and you're able to kind of shut that into the closed position pretty simply. Do you do anything else while you're looking around in the back?
I'm looking for something to make fire, but I think my chances of finding that are really, really small due to her preoccupation with fire safety.
No, actually, you would be able. I mean, you would find like lighters and like a lighter maybe or matches, because she does have a collection of like black wax candles, um, that kind of give you a weird vibe. But she does have a collection of candles, some of that which obviously she has used, and so
Can I
she does have things to
investigate
light
these
fire.
with my sight?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. Y'all, we're all going to end up living inside this dollhouse. Every comfy. We're going to all end up in there. Okay, I'm doing it.
Look on the bright side, though. At least chunks of Cheerios scattered around.
We can also start eating the bodies if we need to, but it might be a little
That's
early
true.
to resort to cannibalism.
So, a mixed success.
So that's one.
And so, using the sight, what kind of thing do you get to figure out with a one?
I guess I'm going to go with what is being concealed here. What I'm aiming to figure out is what are they? What secret purpose do they have?
Okay, so you would be able to. What you will see is that like she has these collection of candles, right? These like black wax candles, um, and what you've noticed as you're kind of looking at this collection is there's this like Altoids tin, like with no lid on it. It's like basically a tin, and it looks like it's got like all these tiny little like black sprinkles in it. But then as you look closely, you realize that these are very tiny miniaturized, um, like used black candles. So what it seems like is that these are, I mean, on a meta level, these are the full size candles, but she does the ritual like tinified, like, miniaturized. And that's why like the discards are in this little tin and they look like black sprinkles. And you can look real close and realize that they're tiny, like very tiny used black candles.
Okay, I know it's bad form to do moves back to back, but can I also read a bad situation here?
Yes, you can read a bad situation.
9. That seems to be what I am constantly beset with.
That's true. You had 3 in a row.
That's 1. What's the best way to protect the victims? And by the victims, I mean my friends who are inside the house. And potentially me, too.
I think what you kind of realize is that the best way to protect them is to get them out of the dollhouse because, knowing that how to hurt her is to destroy the dollhouse, that if they are in it, they're going to die. Like she's given the vision that you saw earlier with the portraits and the tiny dead bodies hanging from the portraits. Um, they're either going to die in the dollhouse when she kills them, or they're going to die in the dollhouse if they're in there when it's destroyed. But you have to get them out of the dollhouse if they're going to live.
Logistics question.
Yeah.
Can I big whammy this house?
What is big whammy?
So big whammy is kicking some ass, but since it's a spooky move, you roll your weird instead of your tough, and it can look
Okay.
like anything from like a telekinetic attack, or it's basically a psychic attack or a spiritual attack.
Okay. The short answer is yes. We'll see what happens when you do it or how you do it.
On the off chance, I'm going to text Cassie.
Okay. So you text Cassie. What are you going to text her?
I'm going to say, be prepared to run out of that house.
All right. So you send that text and you wait a moment and there's no response. And shifting the camera back to the inside of the house, I'm going to assume that at some point, Cassie, you also try to send a message out because you're trapped in that house. And when you do, Mildred just kind of like, it's not going to work. Nothing works in here. Only like simple shit. Electronics don't work in here. I don't know why.
Shit.
So basically, like your technology won't work once you're miniaturized, but like simple things like the gun or the like mechanical things will work, but not electronic things.
Yeah, electric stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
So my worry is, and maybe you don't want to answer this.
Yeah.
But maybe you want me to make a roll to know this. But the big whammy does 2 harm, ignore armor, so that almost would put a person to unstable almost if the attack hit. When it comes to damaging a dollhouse, would that do so much damage that they might not be able to get out? So would Jesse's impression of it be that big whammying the dollhouse might actually do more harm than good?
I think Jesse's impression is that in their miniaturized nature, that they are fragile. And you know this because like you've seen the mutilated miniature bodies hanging from the portraits. And that this house is not a dollhouse. It is a miniaturized house. like you kind of realize that like looking at the details of it, like it operates like what first looks like an expert artisanship and craftsmanship, as you kind of realize that she is miniaturizing people, that like it is like a miniaturized house, and that means lots of debris, very sharp debris, not like big chunky plastic stuff, but like wood and screws and like sharp things. So all that to say that I think your sense is that like destroying this dollhouse, even if you're not burning it, is going to harm, possibly kill anyone inside.
Okay.
So if you're going to destroy it and you want your friends to be safe, you got to get them out first.
Well, I was just hoping, I want to knock it off the table and see if I could open the door. So my concern is if I reach over and I open the door, I'm just going to shrink, because in my vision,
Right.
that's what happened to Kim. Is she touched the dollhouse and then she shrank and then she was put into the dollhouse. I also think that's what happened to Cassie, and that's my sense. So my fear is if I physically go and mess with it, I'm just going to shrink too. So I need to be able to maneuver it without making physical contact. And I was hoping that the big whammy could physically move it or open the doors without me having to physically make contact with it and shrinking. Does that make sense?
Okay, I mean, yeah, if your intention is just like to punch a hole in it, then like that again, it's gonna be the kind of thing where it's like if anyone is in the vicinity of like what you destroy, there is a chance that you're gonna harm / kill them. But if you're not trying to destroy the whole thing and maybe just like knock one of the walls out and hope that they can escape, then like that's something you could try. And then like we'll kind of adjudicate whether or not someone is like in that vicinity when it happens, because like all the windows are blacked out, you can't see where anyone is, right? But I tell you what, while you think of a plan, let's shift the focus back to the crew inside. Okay. So back inside the dollhouse, you've now got Cassie and Kathleen, Kimberly, who you've been sent to find, and Robert, the PI that was also there to find Kimberly and trapped by the house. No one's been to the 4th floor yet. Robert has kind of taken a cursory look through the 2nd and 3rd floor, but hasn't explored them fully, having to avoid the wandering Nutcracker doll soldiers, because if they found him, they would have just herded him back to the 1st floor. So he didn't really get a chance to look thoroughly through everything, but was able to kind of see that there's no doors that he could see upstairs that would lead him out. So what are y'all gonna do? You're gonna still like kind of like huddle in the living room / kitchen area on the 1st floor, or are you gonna try and explore the house?
I take it there wasn't a back door either.
No, there was not a back door on the 1st floor.
So we got really 2 options, people. We can see if we find a way out on the 4th floor, or try to overwhelm the halberd wielding G.I. Joe.
I mean,
yeah, I think we should probably try the 4th floor. I mean, that's the only place you've not been. Makes sense. Could be something interesting up there.
If we run to Nutcrackers, someone can try to distract them and run them off while the others continue searching.
Yeah.
have you tried shooting it in the eyes? Can it even see us?
It's got plastic eyes, so I don't think it sees with its eyes, but that's just a guess.
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
So y'all
how
are
this
going to kind of
works.
explore the house a little bit. All right. So what I want then is someone to do an investigate a mystery roll, and then someone to do an act under pressure roll, and then someone to do a help out roll, and you decide who you're helping.
I'll do the act
or
under
you
pressure.
can, you can take that help out roll and just give it to whoever you think needs it, and I'm okay with doing it after the roll. But it's kind of like a group thing, okay? And this will kind of determine like what y'all are able to find and who and like how you're able to like escape the notice of the soldiers.
Soldiers. All right, I rolled 5, but I'm going to take a luck. So
Okay, you haven't used your luck yet, so you can use your luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brian, do you want to investigate mystery or shall I?
I've got one sharp. What do you got?
I also have one. Yeah, one sharp.
All right. Let's see. What does helping do? Use help out.
I
Uses
think
cool.
help probably uses cool.
So I've got one cool.
I also have one cool.
All right. You investigate. I'll help.
Thank you, Brian, for putting your faith in my dice rolls ability.
I know where the true roll skills are.
I will also say that Robert, you can also one of your things is occult confidential. The first time in each mystery you observe a monster, minion, or phenomenon in action, you can ask one question from the investigative mystery list. So you get to just ask a question, you know, on top of the investigation.
So what sort of creature is it?
Okay. Are you talking about like these the plastic soldiers
Yeah, the GI
toys?
Joe.
All right. With what set of creature is it? These are essentially like animated, sort of like magically animated toys. Um, you know that they only operate as long as Mildred the shopkeeper controls them, and they only operate as long as she operate controls them. If it weren't for her, they would just be inert objects. But that also tells you that like they don't have, you can try to physically destroy them, but that would take a lot of effort because you kind of have to like break them apart and you're the same size as them.
It's like fighting a zombie. Gotcha.
Yeah, basically. All right. And then so you also got a success on the help out. So I would say that you can hold that since neither Kathleen or Cassie need it. So you can keep that +1 in your back pocket for when you need it later. Um, okay, so the investigative mystery. You get to basically, um, what is it that you're looking for as you're investigating, Cassie, or the group? Because you're kind of doing this all together as a group.
What am I
A
investigating?
way out, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, what's a good way out, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, if we can do the flexible, then yeah. What's a good way out?
Okay. So we'll kind of narrate this a little bit. As you are looking for, like, going up to investigate maybe the fourth floor, um, you you also get a really good success on the avoiding the toy soldiers. So you get into the third floor and you're making your way up to the fourth floor, and as you're going up the fourth floor, you see that one of the toy soldiers is actually coming down, like this Nutcracker soldier, and he is carrying an actual like halberd that's meant for his little Nutcracker soldier toy, but it's sharpened. Um, and he's coming down towards you, and he's like, "This is the blue Nutcracker soldier." So you go back to the third floor to lose him, and the red one kind of pushes you out from the third floor back to the second floor. But rather than letting them herd you to the first floor, you make your way into the conservancy on the second floor, which is like has all these potted plants that are real potted plants, but look normal size to you. And while you're like kind of like hiding in the bushes to evade detection from the toy soldiers, um, one of you finds like this a hidden catch, like a hidden alcove behind some plants, and there's this very narrow circular staircase that goes all like it goes up, and you can tell it goes past the third floor and the fourth floor into something even above the fourth floor. Like it goes way up. And I would say that with the so you kind of like are able to find this secret passageway that goes up into the higher parts of the dollhouse.
I guess up we go.
Yep, good find.
Okay.
Yeah.
In this hidden 5th floor attic, you find it's like a library full of tomes and a massive stone dais with metal shackles built into it. Um, this place is stained with um, old dry blood. The smell of death, of like stale death, is pretty potent here. But it doesn't smell like rot. Nothing has rotted here. Um, but you do find that like there's a lot of old blood stains in this area. This stone dais, like clearly people have been killed on this dais here. You find little drips of black wax in a circle around this stone dais, and there is a reading desk off to one side, um, and a small wooden, like a simple wooden chair of fine craftsmanship, and two bookshelves just full of old leather bound tomes.
This is gruesome. She's sacrificing people in here.
That's what it looks like, or has.
Oh God. I want to look at the books and see if anything pops out of like ways to increase your size or something.
All right, give me an investigate a mystery check, probably. Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll use my hold to help out.
That's right. You
Okay.
can use that hold, that +1, to give him a +1 on this roll.
Bam!
14.
Okay. So yes, you do find a ritual called the so you do find a ritual here that will allow you to, it's called the big magic ritual, right? And you find that it will teleport you to an agreed upon, like to another place outside of this dollhouse, and it is a place that like all those that participate, if all those that participate in the ritual agree to, you will teleport to this place. um, and if you sacrifice someone innocent while performing the ritual, uh, it will return you to full size when you teleport, and also destroy the dollhouse around you while you are growing to full size. And also, further study of this will reveal that burning down the dollhouse will also destroy the magic of the dollhouse.
I suppose you guys know of anybody interesting. Innocent and expendable.
I mean, you've got Kimberly Wong there, but I don't know if Robert's going to be okay with that. He was there to find her.
Okay.
Are you saying you're not
guys are-
innocent?
You know,
right.
Huh?
Let's kind of take it back while y'all are doing this.
Yeah.
While you all are kind of maybe figuring out, trying to decide what you're going to do now that you have found this ritual. Niamh, what is Jesse doing?
Well, I don't know exactly what I'm allowed to do and what the bounds of the use magic is going to let me do. So there's a couple of ideas. Can I speak to them inside the dollhouse with a use magic roll?
Sure. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Does Jessie have any reason to think that the lady will hear what she has to say, or do I have to verbally speak it, or can I just think it?
I think that you would probably, I think that like you're going to have to speak it, but I mean, you're not in necessarily, I'm going to say that like you get the sense that you have to kind of like channel it or aim it. So you're going to need to see the dollhouse. And I mean, whispering is probably fine, but you're gonna have to see the dollhouse because you have to channel it towards them. Unless you just roll like a massive success, in which case I'll just let you think it and do like just telepathy. But still, either way, I think you have to see it in order to channel it.
So I will walk back out into the shop.
So Mildred is, you can see that she is kind of dusting or kind of like rearranging some stuff on one of the stands out towards the front of the shop. And it's kind of like a weird moment for you. It's kind of like deja vu because like you see this guy in way too like tight fitting athleisure, very fit guy with that massive Bluetooth thing in his ear, come up to the store and try to pull it open, but the store is locked. Mildred looks and sees that it's locked, but she doesn't really move or react. She lets the guy kind of give up and walk away. And you get to gain experience because you prevented, not by your own action, or I guess by telling Kathleen to lock it, you prevented that thing that you had the cloudy vision of. That guy being doused in cat food. So mark an experience. But yeah, Mildred would notice you walk into and just like, oh dear, you're back. Your friend left, I think, to go try and find your other friend outside. I did tell them that there's a popular cafe. Perhaps they're waiting for you there. Over at Little Flowers.
Maybe they are. Yeah. I am just going to go for it. I'm going to try the use magic roll because I'm going to tell them that I am going to set this house on fire and they need to be prepared to bolt.
Okay.
Because I don't want to touch it and end up stuck inside.
Right.
Of course. It's a 9! Who could have guessed? Right. Which means I get to pick an effect and then a glitch.
Okay.
How about if it has a problematic side effect?
Sure.
And under my breath, I am going to whisper, almost as if I'm saying it under my breath, and speak it directly towards the dollhouse. I whisper, I'm going to light it up. Be prepared to run.
So I will say that, will you tell me if this is like, do you have an idea for the problematic side effect?
No, I can also say it draws. So the most natural thing that I was thinking is it draws immediate unwelcome attention from her, or the effect is weakened. So maybe they can't quite hear it right. So attempting to follow on it is hard.
Yeah. What's the option that you want to go with? That you draw her attention, or that they don't get the full message?
They don't get the full message. I think I want to go with.
All right, then. I'm going to say that like you're whispering this message, and the problematic side effect is that what they hear is like, I'm going to light it up. But then like before they can hear the rest of that message, it just starts to echo and echo and echo. And it kind of like starts reverberating throughout the house and looping over itself. So you can't understand what the rest of it is that she's saying. All you can hear is that she's like saying, I'm going to light it up. And then the other problematic side effect is that as this kind of noise is going through the house, after that the echo dies down, you can hear a lot of commotion of the soldiers running, like that have heavy footsteps. They're running up the stairs now. You can hear their heavy footsteps coming up the stairs, and it's not long before you can start to hear there's a hidden trap door in the floor, different from the one that you entered from. that is starting to shake and bang as they're trying to knock it from underneath. So like we'll say that this noise has like alerted the soldiers inside that you are in this hidden attic room. All right, so team that's in the attic, what are you gonna do? You've heard this word, I'm gonna light it up. You've got this teleportation ritual. It'll still work without a sacrifice. You'll just be doll size.
You hear that? We need to get out of here. I think so, permanently. Yeah. That's what I'm reading here. Like, do we run or do we do the ritual?
You run.
Which
Try to make me to tackle the guy.
the GI Joe, but
Does it take time to do the ritual? How involved is it?
I would say it takes, as you're looking at the ritual, what it requires is everyone standing around the dais, the stone dais, the sacrifice dais, holding hands and then reciting these words together. So what it's gonna, like the phrases, the words might only take like 30 seconds to say, but it has to be in unison and all correct. And so what you would do then is roll. Probably either a sharp or a cool roll, depending on what you think is most appropriate for your character, to memorize these this ritual phrase, and then whatever you roll, like that'll determine how long it's going to take you to do it.
I don't want to be small though. I mean, if we get out and it doesn't change us back to our original size, we might be small forever.
Right.
So at this point, you see you hear a splinter, and you see the tip of one of the halberds from the toy soldiers kind of like just barely break through. You're gonna have to make a choice about what to do quickly because they are making progress.
Okay,
I'm gonna hand Kim my
we
gun. I'm gonna pull out my switchblade and hand it to Casey, and I'm gonna lay on the dais as they get to it.
Oh, the sacrifice.
No, we can't sacrifice anyone.
You see all those dead bodies at the front? There have been plenty sacrificed. Get to it.
You're asking one of us to kill you? No, we need
Better
to just,
one than
let's get out of
four.
here. We'll be doll size. It's fine. We'll make it work. There was a movie about
We'll
this.
become rat food.
They don't have time for this because I'm going to light this house on. I'm lighting this bitch on fire.
Okay. So, while they decide what they're going to do, Niamh, what are you doing to light this house on fire?
I'm going to light it on fire. Can my big whammy take the form of lighting it on fire?
Yeah, absolutely.
Causing it to combust?
Yes.
All right. As this woman is over here looking at this guy and dusting her shit, I've been wanting to big whammy something. I really should have saved my luck. I thought I'd fail more.
Right.
But instead my rolls have just been pretty fucking mid.
Yep.
All
This
right.
is it.
Whammy it.
You got it. This is your 12.
It's 9. Let me 9.
Or another 9.
10!
Oh, there you go.
Nice. Nice work.
So, yes, you big whammy this thing, and so you wanted to just kind of like emblazon and go up in a blaze, engulfed in flame.
It starts small because the nature of the big whammy is it appears to be spontaneous combustion, but then almost immediately, as soon as the little spark catches, it begins to spread and engulf the house in flames. So it is quick.
Mildred immediately whips her head towards you, and the facade, and she screams this blood-curdling scream, and immediately starts running towards you. And as she does so, in her screaming, this black smoke just pours out of her mouth and just quickly roils along the floor and starts swirling around you and enveloping you. seeping into your nose and your mouth, choking you. And you're immediately going to take 2 harm as she starts to just choke you with black smoke. Inside the house, you can hear the crackle of flames, and you can like smoke is starting to rise up through the floorboards, and you can even feel the heat and see the orange glow of light outside the blackened window of the attic, the secret attic there. This place is now on fire. So whatever you're going to do, you got to do it now.
I'll grab the switchblade and put it to where I can stab myself and say, "Start saying the ritual now, or we all die."
I'm going to start saying the ritual.
Okay.
Kathleen too.
All right, then. Give me a sharp roll to see how like accurate y'all can get it.
Now I'll add my help it out bonus.
There you go.
Okay.
And then one of you can take a +1 if you need it.
Oh, I need it. So 6 or 7.
Yep.
All right, then there you go.
Yeah.
Kathleen. Let's see how Kathleen does it. And Kathleen hasn't used her luck yet.
Oh, there you go.
Perfect.
Two,
Okay.
two mixed.
Yeah, that's fine. We're at the last part of this, so I'm okay with it. Like, you are able to succeed at the ritual, and I'm going to say that the price to pay is already there. Brian's character Robert is going to be sacrificing himself, so that is the price to pay with the mixed success. If y'all had both gotten like a perfect roll, I probably would have like let it be that y'all just kind of won't let him sacrifice himself and bring him with you. But that is the price to pay. So Kathleen and Cassie hold hands with Kimberly, saying the words as best they can remember, and it's close enough. You can kind of hear this, crackling energy and the frantic chopping at the floorboards from the soldiers. And you are starting to grow bigger as Robert grows pale and his blood leaks out onto the dais and starts to smoke and sizzle. And the smoke surrounds y'all from his burning blood. And you start to grow. And you grow very quickly. And you burst through these, like the hot burning dollhouse, and stumble onto the ground. So as the dollhouse is burning in front of you, Jesse / Niamh, it shatters, and your friends tumble onto the ground along with a very bedraggled Kimberly Wong. And as this dollhouse shatters apart, including burning to ashes, Mildred, who is running towards you, screaming, belching that smoke, all of a sudden just her bones snap and she tumbles and falls. And as she looks up to you, you can see that her hair is getting stringy and she is aging all the years of her life. And she becomes like a desiccated, dry mummy right in front of you, or with a rasping last breath before her hand falling and her dusty flesh falling from her bones, leaving just a pile of normal clothes on top of a skeleton with wispy hair. And all of you are there with the smoke of the ashes of this dollhouse kind of filling the shop. But it's only a dollhouse fire. It doesn't like light the whole place on fire.
Oh, thank God. Oh, God. We're out of there. Thank God.
How did you guys get back to full size?
Oh, God. There was a ritual inside we had to do. Don't ask. Don't ask.
I think she's looking
Robert
at you.
sacrificed himself for me. He was just the sweetest man.
Paperclip forever.
What are you talking about? And she's looking at you guys, and she sees like the blood on you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A nightmare house.
The only way to get out was to sacrifice someone. Yeah. PI.
Well, the only way to get out normal sized, which it was so traumatic to see that. I am going to have nightmares.
We should totally do a collab sometime,
Guys,
by the
I'm ready to
way.
get the fuck out of here. I'm so hungry.
Can I
Sweep up this dusty old bitch and get out.
can I imprison them here?
Can you what?
Imprison them here for committing murder just so they're not doll size.
He did not commit murder. Hold on. He did it himself.
Yes, I will say that with all the things that you've learned about Mildred, is that whatever magic she did, means that it's possible for you to do that. However, there's no dollhouse to do it with. I think you would probably have to learn her magic in order to imprison her here. Well, what kind of way were you thinking of imprisoning?
I just want to make it so they're not able to leave the shop.
I tell you what, this is our last minute. So why don't you do a magic roll? And if it's real good, I'll just say that like you decide that they don't deserve to leave, and like you'll imprison them in like another item that's here at the shop. You'll kind of like latch on. You'll like absorbed enough of Mildred's magic that you can kind of like channel it back out and just like miniaturize them and shrink them into something else.
Enjoy the Lego castle.
It's a fun way to end it.
What are you
I
doing?
think it's a fun way to end it.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to kind of study you, look at myself who took damage from Mildred and Mildred's combustion in an effort to save y'all instead of just leaving.
Right.
And I don't know, what should this look like?
Well, do your roll first.
Okay.
Do your magic roll. And then I'll tell you what happens.
Okay. 11, bitch.
No.
So, as you are looking at them, you and like you're just like not even saying anything. You just start like your eyes like start rolling into the back of your head, and you start muttering those ancient Gaelic words that just sort of speak to you from Mildred's spirit, kind of like having imprinted the magic that she used onto you. And all of a sudden, you all start to be enveloped into a fog, Kimberly and Cassie and Kathleen, and then find yourselves being pulled back, each of you, towards separate objects in the shop. There is there's like an old vase that is like clear, sort of. There's like an old vase that one of y'all kind of get whisked up into smoke, and you realize that you're in there with the base of like plastic flowers that you can't climb out and get away from. One of you gets whisked back into a Jack in the Box, and you find yourself kind of like stuck in between the kind of crushed up clown that's there, not able to move much, very claustrophobic. And then Kimberly gets like this fog that pulls her into a camera, and she's sort of inside the lens, able to see out, but anyone that looks in, it's so distorted that they wouldn't be able to see her inside of it. And then Jesse looks around with satisfaction that these people that were willing to do so much harm to escape didn't get to escape, and maybe thinks that she can take over needful things now that she can just sweep up Mildred into a dustbin. And then everyone is expecting Mildred's granddaughter to come take over the shop. Perhaps she'll just play the part.
I think I'm going to look for a set of keys in Mildred's dusty remains.
Okay.
And if I find them, I'm going to brush them off and brush myself off. And then I am going to strut out of Needful Things, lock the door, and head to Little Flowers Cafe. After all, Mildred really sold it.
She did. All right, guys, we're past time, and I gotta go, so I'm out.
Stop recording.
This has been fun.
Save it.
Yeah. All
Bye,
right.
everyone.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
See you
Stop
later.
recording. We gotta go.
I'm ending the stream now and stopping recording now.